My name's Dave, and what we're doing here is getting the town growing. And the purpose of our whole project is to grow food in public spaces and make that food available to everyone. It's very different from the classic community garden model where I have my plot beside your plot, and I grow what I want in mine, you grow your tomatoes in yours. The idea is that everyone gets together from the whole community who wants to and has time, and helps prepare the soil, helps to plant the plants and weed and water and maintain. And then once that is done, you have a situation where all around this beautiful public library is edible food instead of ornamental plants. Now, it's not going to take away from the ornamental aspect, because the food is going to look just as beautiful as a lot of the other plants that you would normally see in a decorative bed. And so the idea is that anyone can come along and harvest that food. So we've been working really hard on these gardens, and it still looks like just a pile of dirt. So because we had to start with soil that was basically dead. So we've been working for probably the last 2 months or so, amending the soil. So putting compost in there, putting horse manure, and we're going to amend it even more today. But we've been working up to this point, and today is a really exciting day for our project, because we're actually going to plant the perennial plants, the plants that come back every year. We're going to plant them today. And so we're actually just waiting for the truck to arrive with all the plants, and then we're going to start making our final decisions as to where everything goes. So we're planting things like rhubarb and asparagus. We're planting a lot of fruit, so hascap berries, highbush blueberries, currants, strawberries, Arctic kiwi. And we're also planting a lot of herbs, so a lot of golden oregano, thyme, sage, these kinds of things. And we also decided that we're going to put some pollinator flowers in there as well, because even if they're not edible, although a lot of them are useful as an herb, like Echinacea, for example, even if they're not edible, they are part of the food system, a very important part of that food system. And so what we want to do is not just grow food, but also encourage the pollination of that food. And so that's a part of the education of what we're doing here, is not only how does the food grow, but how does the fruit get produced, and what happens if one piece of that ecosystem is lost. The whole rest of it doesn't work anymore. So that's why we really want to include that full circle.
I became, like Dave, enthused about the Grow the Town as a way of developing a spirit of people working together as a sort of food community, to be able to share our ideas and our efforts to get people interested in growing their own food. We've lived in Antigonish, my family have lived in Antigonish for a long time, and we've always had a garden, and we see the benefits, both economically and certainly health-wise, in having a garden. And the idea of promoting and educating people to growing their own food, I think, is a very valuable thing to happen in this town. And I know that there are many people that are involved in growing food for themselves and sharing with their neighbors. That's another offshoot of the project. We're hoping that by people seeing the food that's growing and participating in using the food and sharing it with others, this is also both educational and beneficial for their health and well-being. So I'm very proud to be a part of this initiative.
So we're doing this for 3 reasons, really. One is to increase accessibility to fresh food. And that's really important because there are a lot of people in this community and in every community that can't access fresh food, whether it's because of cost or other reasons why people can't. Or a lot of times it's because people don't know what to do with it. A lot of times if a box of kale goes to the food bank, nobody takes it because they don't really have an idea of how to use it. So that brings me to the second part of this, and that is education. And what we really want to turn this into is an opportunity for us to allow people to educate themselves, but also to have educational workshops on how to use the food that we're growing here. So partly how we're going to do that is we're going to have really aesthetically pleasing signs, really nice artistically drawn signs that will have a picture of the plant and description of how to use it. So that as well as throwing workshops during harvest season, we're going to hopefully bring people into the fold into this idea of free food. And it's a crazy idea. A lot of people say that it's just it doesn't work. And to be honest, I don't know if it will or not. But we're going to give it a try and see how it goes. And another reason why we wanted to do this is just that sense of abundance that people get when you're walking down the main street of a town and you see food growing. Right now it's a very rare opportunity to walk down the main street of your town and to see food growing. And so we expect the first year, maybe even the first 2 years or more, people will react very strangely to it. And our hope is that eventually people will get used to seeing food growing everywhere. And the sense of abundance that comes with that is really a huge piece of why we're doing this. Flowers are beautiful, and we're not taking away flowers completely at all. We're replacing only some of the boxes on Main Street with food. But we're replacing them with food like nasturtiums, which is an edible flower. Maybe like a fennel that's very, very feathery and beautiful to look at. So we're not taking away that aesthetic quality, we're really adding to it and adding that sense of abundance. And then once all the plants are in the ground, then we'll water everything. So you dig the hole, put some bone meal at the bottom of the hole, spread it around, then put some bone meal also in the pile of dirt that you're putting back on top of the plant as well. So it's surrounded, the roots are surrounded by the fertilizer.
It's great to see the community working together. It's something like this where we live right now. I can't do too much gardening, so it's nice to be able to help out somewhere where I can do it. So far, we've been very lucky with the weather.
The very beginning of this was a group called the Kitchen Table Green Economics, and it was a group that was initiated by Elizabeth Lang, a researcher at St. FX, and it was facilitated by Juliette Merrifield, who did a phenomenal job of bringing a group of people together. We committed to meeting basically every Saturday during the summer for the whole Saturday, which was a huge commitment, and it was a big sector of people. And our goal was to find out how green is the economy in Antigonish, and then at the end take stock of what it is that we can actually do. So we looked at the fisheries, at forestry, at agriculture, small scale and bigger scale, at healthcare, all these different sectors. And we decided we're going to come up with 3 action plans. And one of those action plans was what this project was born from. So just basically to grow food, and it's also very much inspired by a network in the UK called Incredible Edible, and if you get a chance, you should see the TED Talk that is by Pam Warhurst, called Our Edible Landscape, and it's really inspiring, the project that's happening there. It's very similar to what we're doing, and so I hope that more and more communities will start to do the same thing.
I'm Pam Johnson, and I live here in Antigonish. I work at the Coady International Institute in the Women's Center, and I became involved in the project through an invite from Juliet, and she was the person who was guiding the project that was greening the local economy. This was a kitchen table green economy group, rather, that we started last summer. So we were exposed to a lot of different potential projects that were looking at greening the economy, everything from wind energy and food security to like community hubs for food selling, etc. So there were lots of different and sustainable forests, etc. Anyways, I got very interested in this particular project, although all were very interesting, because I felt like it was something I could get involved in and hit the ground running. Also, I feel very strongly about food security from the perspective of just making sure that everyone has access to good food. But also food justice is something that's really interesting to me as well, because it goes beyond just making sure that we all have access to good food, but it's also examining the barriers in the context around why people don't have access to good food. So thinking about people who are living on low poverty, or low incomes, people who have other barriers in their lives that are restricting their access to good food. And so it was really important to me to be a part of a project that meant that we were growing food that was accessible to everybody in the community, and that it's in a central location so that people can walk by and pick their own food, and that also education is a part of it. A lot of people do know about good food options and how to prepare, but there are many of us who don't, and so making sure that that was a piece of what we were doing. So access to all was my biggest concern, and making sure that this is an inclusive process. So we've really tried to reach out to many different groups in the community and work also with other food justice and food security groups in Antigonish who've done exceptional work in the last decade, I think, here in town. They've been doing really amazing work and drawing from their experience and their expertise.
Hi, my name is David Hachet. I'm up here to help get the town growing. I'm from just outside Scottsburn in Pictou County. I met some of these lovely people at a Green Party meeting. I'm actually the Green Party candidate in the upcoming federal election. So I just wanted to come up and meet some of the town folk. And this is a great cause. Beautifying the town, giving it some curbside appeal is something that brings a lot of pride to residents. And I love the fact that it's going to be a lot of edibles. I think that, being from the country, I think kids do understand where their food comes from, but there's some that don't have access to that sort of thing. So walking by and seeing the strawberries and blueberries, haskell's, give kids an exposure to growing their own food.
This is an experiment, and as far as I know, it hasn't really been done in a lot of places in the Maritimes. I did hear that it might be happening to some extent in Wolfville, but I really don't know to what extent it's been happening. The only other place that I've heard of it really flourishing is on the West Coast, of course, where they have an extended season and generally a more progressive-minded population. But that being said, I have to say that I was shocked at how much support we've gotten for this project from everyone from the town council to people who are usually very hesitant to approach new ideas, came at this with full force. So when I first started it, I didn't really expect it to be the whole gardens, all the gardens at the library plus the beds down Main Street. What I expected was to get maybe like a 10-foot plot of garden beside the library, and that was about it.
My name is Dan Fougere, and I am proud to serve as chair of the Antigonish Town County Community Health Board. I'm an accountant by trade from Harbour-Bushy, but our Community Health Board is made up of volunteers from all walks of life. Our purposes are threefold. We strive to identify community health needs. We develop community health plans, and we also distribute wellness fund grants, which is the reason we became involved with this Get the Town Growing project. We are extremely excited to be part of this project because it connects the dots on the determinants of health for us in so many ways. My grandmother had a saying, "You are what you eat," and it's an old adage that holds true. We all know that there are many marginalized in our community who struggle with food insecurity issues, and that leads to other health issues, stress, and sometimes poor lifestyle choices. So there's so many things you have to like about this project. First of all, it has broad community support of local municipal officials and a number of community service organizations. It converts underutilized plots of land into a source of local fresh food. It gets a network of volunteers engaged in healthy physical activity. It has social and cultural value in that it brings a group of like-minded people together in a common cause. It's a sustainable project, we think. Not only is it sustainable, it has the opportunity to grow in future years. This project could become the catalyst for community gardens on a larger scale. We were able to contribute $2,500 as startup money for this project, and without hesitation. But while speaking about our Wellness Fund grants, I would like to remind all that we operate on a April to March fiscal year, but we do like to have our applications in hand by November 1st of each year so that they can receive proper consideration.
Some of the strawberries were so large.
Maybe, yeah, that's okay.
Well, I think it would be important for any community to have something green and alive in the center of everything. And I find it especially good to have people working together on something like that. It's been a lot of fun.
And an event like this that really brings the community together. You've got people of all ages from all over helping out, getting their hands dirty, making an effort to show some community spirit and make their hometown a better place. I mean, this is what the world needs a lot more of. So I highly commend the organizers and all the people involved. I'm happy to be here today. It's a beautiful day, and I look forward to coming back in a month or two and having some strawberries.
And we've really worked hard at connecting all of the pieces of the food movement in Antigonish, and the local food, the fresh food, the healthy food movement right now in Antigonish is, I believe, is on the rise of a crest, of a huge wave that is happening not just here but all over North America, and I really feel like we're a big part of that, and we're connecting to all the other pieces. The Food Security Coalition, our food store, for example, and the Cody has courses on food justice, and actually it's an international group of people that are going to be coming and helping us today. So we're really gathering community together and growing food together, and then our next challenge will be convincing people to harvest it and eat it.